Morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. My name is Hasib Hassan. I'm from the August group, and I randomly came across Shibli is actually is one of I'm from Houston, Texas, and he's actually one of the group members for Houston Bangladeshis or something like that. So I'm also from Bangladesh, and I started following him and actually became a fan of his teaching style. I grew up here in Texas, Houston, Texas. I lived here 25 years. So when I saw him, I found it very unique, and that's one of the reasons I emailed him, and that's how we started. And it took me a little longer to make up my mind. And one of the things I would like to point out, some of you guys are very, very privileged. When I joined, I guess this wasn't there. We couldn't just jump in and kind of see how things work. Join other sessions like some of you are part of. Some of you are still trying to decide whether to, make the decision. At that time, I believe it wasn't there. So I joined after a month, and I was able to pick things up. Everyone is very helpful. They all have their own situation going on, but we all come together as a family. That's how I would like to put it. I actually lost my job during the pandemic. I worked for Wells Fargo. I worked as a new home sales. I did pretty much everything. I graduated in 2008, so there was a 12 years gap. I don't have an IT background, just like many of us here, and I'm still learning. That's one of the things it took me a little while to pick things up in the beginning, just to adjust myself. Many of you will go through this transformation. Just because I worked in the corporate environment, that doesn't mean anything. So what I learned in the beginning, just to leave all my experience, everything behind, and start from scratch. And I would recommend that's something that will help everyone, whoever we are, what my background is, how many degrees we have, or we don't have any. This will not apply here. And I quickly learned that I don't need to bring in what I had, what I did in my past. It's really not going to help me. If I have something to share, if somebody else learns from me, I can't do that when I'm in my team meetings. That's one of the things I learned. And just quickly, I talk a lot. I'll just point out a few things that I learned to take it very seriously. And if we all do that, everybody, all of you will benefit from it. For example, Shiblu talked about Slack. Take that as if it's your professional workplace. And when you communicate with over there, just know everyone is watching, but don't be shy, don't be scared, be
Mhm.
yourself. That's how you will actually work in your actual job in the future. So take Slack seriously. Don't just watch others talking, be part of it.
Yes.
And be professional and respectful. This is not a chat room where you will share
Mhm.
your opinion and fight with one another. It's not a Facebook group. So just take it something that if you are, you wouldn't say at your workplace, and you want others not to say to you, just treat everyone that way. It's a good practice. So please be active. Being active on Slack is very important. It's fun, if you have the time. Sometimes you will just learn by reading others' conversation and be part of it. That's one thing. Other thing about Techserve4U, you're going to meet people from all around. I mean, from all over. Not all over. I mean to say, most of them are from New York and Michigan, but some, like you spoke to Shafiq earlier. When I met Shafiq here, not in person, he was here, but now he's, in Bangladesh, and there we communicate just like as if he's here. So that's how we connect. It's very flexible. If you are free in the morning, I know some of you have a job right now. Many of us don't. But we have family. We have a lot of other responsibilities. Some of us have other small business. So I'm active in the second shift. We have like late night meetings and stuff like that. So you have the flexibility, but don't become too flexible. Just because you have the flexibility to join, the night shift or the morning shift, have a fixed schedule. That's one thing. Discipline yourself. That's one thing I'm still learning. I learn something every day. Some weeks I'm not as active, some weeks I am. And this is end of the day. Once you go through the course, honestly, you will have nobody to blame but yourself. And I suffer from that because sometimes I feel that I was not able to put enough time, make the right commitment, because the babysitting days will be over after a few months. And I don't want to talk about that anymore. I know everybody talked about that. Shiblubai first few weeks, he was literally calling people to wake people up. Bhai, please come, join us. It was funny at first. I was asking myself, what did I get myself into? But then later on, everybody learned, because he will call you out, if you don't pay attention. So sometimes it becomes difficult, for people. They have that experience, and sometimes the age group, you have people from like, I believe 20 years old. We have a 20 years old in my team. And then then you have people who are 50. So, sometimes it's hard to communicate with everybody the same way. So that's one thing I would mention. One last thing I would say, I'm sorry I'm making it long, but this will really help all of us.
No, talk as long as needed. It's important, because this is wisdom. Wisdom is $1 million than like a degree.
Yes.
So yeah, please.
One last thing I would mention is about building a relationship. This will help you in your professional life. This will definitely help you here, building a relationship with your teammate. I have some of my teammates, you will hear from Hasan Bhai. He's like a legend in our group. We all learn from him. I know everybody, they have their own shift, own schedule. This man works 7 days a week, but he's always there for us. I have him on speed dial, So if you don't have if you don't build a relationship with your teammates, you will be the one that will suffer later. Because we all will go through life cycles, hardship, a lot of things will happen. But if you have a good relationship with your teammates, it will only benefit you. That's one thing I would say, and that will apply when you actually go in in your work corporate environments. I don't want to talk about like that corporate politics, but that's everywhere, But having a good relationship, having a good image, it really helps everywhere. So just because I'm talking so much, it sounds like I have experience. I made some major mistakes here, just like I talk, sometimes I have a big mouth, and I learned from my mistakes. I'm talking about just here in Techserve4U, So I also come from like a professional sales background. So, we got paid for talking. So, so that's one of the things is that you have to be careful what you say. You have to know your audience, and don't be arrogant. Arrogance will destroy you here. Again, whatever you have done in your past, that's your past. Starting with the open mind and starting from scratch, that I'm here to learn something. If you have that mentality, you will learn. If you don't, you wouldn't, and if you are lacking in something, just be open about it. And when you have a good relationship, you would not have to be shy. I am not ashamed to say, like, I'm struggling with Java. I send a message to, it's not like about giving up. Like it really hit me hard. Like when we started the Java framework on Selenium, that I'm just not getting it. I'm like, I would call Mohsin Bhai, I'm just not getting it. I'll tell Shafiq, hey, can you share some videos? And Shafiq will, share something with me. So that's when, just be upfront. If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's not one of those places we apply that at other workplace, like fake it until you make it. It's not going to work here. So, and you will get behind. So the faster you catch up, the better it is for you. And try your best and be consistent. Like have a set schedule. Give 2 hours or 1 hour every day. One of the things I have seen others, including myself, I had done it once before. Don't try to finish everything. Some of us, we have like 1 day off. And what we do, we try to work like 4 or 5 hours. Okay, I'm giving time. But that 4 or 5 hours, it will help, but it's better to actually have 1 hour or 2 hours each day instead of trying to catch up with the whole week or month session, in 1 day. The only thing is that you can watch the video, but practice. If you don't practice, you'll be behind. Like I'm going crazy, trying to practice Java and trying to pick things up. It's very challenging, but we're getting there, and we don't have to be perfect. We're not here to be perfect, and you will hear a lot of things. That's one thing. The last thing, I'm sorry, this is the last thing I'll mention. People will say all kind of things. Those they are not taking the course, those who have taken IT courses, from other places, and those they actually are working. They got a job, and you will hear all kind of things, because I hear from my friends that you're, spending way too much time try to get a job. You will learn at your workplace. But they don't tell you, some of them, they're not able to keep the job. And those, they are, when their contract is over, they are not able to find another job. So you will build a very strong foundation. It will probably start asking questions that, why am I learning? I did, I asked Shiblu, then why are we learning all this stuff? Like, there's way too much we're learning as a QA. I shouldn't have said that, but then I thought about it, that it's just building my foundation very strong. And sooner or later, I will realize it. And actually, I am realizing it now, So, yeah, this is not, as Shiblu Bhai always mentions, in his webinar and stuff. It's not a training center, and literally, it is not training center. The definition. The other day somebody said, "Oh, whatever the name you call it." And it really bothered me. I really like message Shiblu Bhai that, who is this person? Like, he was basically, the person was trying to say transformation is just like a fancy term Shiblu uses instead of training to catch attention. That is not true, because you will go through it and you will know it. It's not easy. It's more of a lifestyle, and you have to make the commitment and you have to live that life. So that's all. Thanks for listening to me, guys.